And hello, ladies and gentlemen, this is Kassarian, and welcome to a new series, Hearts of Iron 3. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a game by Paradox Interactive, World War II grand strategy, and something right up my alley. But I haven't played in a while, so I'm going to be derping around a lot, as usual. But, ladies and gentlemen, this is Hearts of Iron 3, so without too much, let's get started. We're going to do single player, of course. We're going to start at the very beginning, the Road to War, January 1936. On the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month in the year of our Lord, 1918, the guns fell silent. The war to end all wars was over, and the only task now was to win the peace. When the French Field Marshal Ferdinand Foch saw the resulting Peace of Versailles, he declared, "This is not peace, it is an armistice for 20 years." It is now the 1st of January 1936, and Foch's remark is already looking particularly perceptive. So, we're going to set this to easy. Those of you who know these Hearts of Iron games know that sometimes the AI can be kind of brutal, and sometimes it can be remarkably dumb. And we're going to play as the grand old United States of America, because I feel like being unfair. This is the first season I haven't played Hearts of Iron in a while, and I'm a little bit rusty. I've been playing since Hearts of Iron 2, as a matter of fact. And we'll leave everything under player control. I don't have any victory conditions, because I'm not part of any alliance to start with. Those of you who know your history, you should know the United States was neutral at the beginning of the war. The war officially started in 1939 when Germany, Deutschland, the Dritte Reich, the Third Reich, invaded Poland. You gotta feel bad for the Poles. You know, they're sandwiched right here in between the Soviet Union and, if my mouse stops tweaking, and Germany. I mean, that's a horrible position to be in. You understand why these people are a little paranoid. I mean, they keep getting invaded by everyone. So, let's get this started. Let's load in with the graphics. Nice picture there of the flag raising at Iwo Jima by the United States Marine Corps. Can you tell I know a little bit about World War II history? Just a little bit. We are now adapting history. I'm not certain what much there is to adapt. And we are in. So, let's tutorialize for a little bit, alright? Let's just get that squared away, because this interface can be a little confusing here. Okay, so up at the top here, we have our resources. Energy, metals, and rare materials, which I believe represent rubber. And crude oil. So that has to be refined. We have our usable products here. Supplies, fuel, and money. Always useful. Beyond that, we have our manpower ticker. United States doesn't have great manpower, but it's okay. Our diplomatic influence, which we can spend to influence other countries. Our espionage, so our spy infrastructure. Here we have our officer ratio. 100% means that you are at full officer complement for all your units. Then we have dissent, which I have none of because I'm the United States, and we're a pretty put-together country. And we have national unity. Free press reduces it because damn you free press. But basically this determines how many of your provinces need to be captured before you lose. 100%, 80%, that's not bad. I think where the US is, let me just turn down monthly. Let's turn that scroll speed way down. Oh, that's much better. Phew. For the US, you basically have to capture all of their victory provinces for it to actually, do anything. Whoa! That's a new screen. I actually haven't played with a lot of these expansions. So this is a little bit new. Statistics, okay. That's good, that's good. Okay, so what's this in the middle? Well, that's our industrial capacity. Our available IC is 217. Because it's being reduced by the full civilian economy. Our base is 256, and we're wasting 57 of it. Well, let's see what we can do about that. Oh, what's this? This is the production screen. This is where we can assign what we're building and what we're using our industrial capacity for. So upgrades, this is to upgrade units into their better forms. If you click on this need bar here, it'll automatically assign up to what it the maximum of what it needs. We don't need anyone on reinforcements. That's reinforcing your troops. We don't need a lot of supplies. We need some more into production. Consumer goods keeps your populace happy. But more than that, it also reduces any excess, reduces your descent. Production, of course, production over here. Any unit being produced requires this much IC per day, month, time period. Alright, makes sense. Lend-Lease, I haven't gotten into that. That's actually brand new. Okay, we have a restatement of our reserves. How many nukes we have. We don't have any yet. And we get our strategic resources up here. Aluminum reduces air build speed. Fur reduces winter effects. Helium reduces rocket building time. Prefab ship, naval base efficiency, okay. Dockyards, and automotive industry. Nice. Those are new to Hearts of Iron 3. We didn't have those in 2, so that's kind of cool. And here you can see what's being constructed. We have the Enterprise. She's a carrier with 2 carrier air groups under construction. A carrier works a little differently than it did in Hearts of Iron 2. In Hearts of Iron 2, the aircraft were attachments. They were brigades that went with the ship. In this, they're actually separate air units that can be controlled semi-independently. Each carrier gets 2 of them. We have the Quincy, which I believe is a light cruiser. I think that's the light cruiser symbol. We have some destroyer divisions and a submarine division. Not too shabby. So here we have the actual map. As you can see, I can't see outside my borders thanks to the fog of war. That's not bad, but we'll get to this in a minute. Let's look at our intelligence. How does this work? Well, basically you can assign priority by clicking these buttons where your spies are going to go. So we're going to set most of our spies to go into the US, with a good chunk of the going into Germany, and also into Italy. Now I'm cheating here, because I know who my enemies are going to be. So if I go to Asia, I can assign some to go into Japan. Yes, I'm cheating a little bit. I know what history is like, and I know what they're going to be doing. So I'm going to make sure I send spies there. I don't need any of that, but I need some of that. Alright. So, let's take a look at what else we can do here. We have our theaters map. Uh-huh. Well, this is interesting. The Manila HQ is an allied theater. Now, for some reason, it seems to think that Canada is my enemy. Conus East, Conus West. Not bad. Probably because Canada is the nearest country to me. So it's currently being thought of as... Oh, what's this? Okay, this needs some explanation. So in Hearts of Iron, you have these command units, right? And the command units form a chain of command. So if I kick this out here, if I then get this thing to stop... I wish there was a lock button for this. Expand down. We can see that we have divisions and army corps with divisions attached to them. This makes sense to any of you who know the military, but basically it's your chain of command. Okay? This unit is commanded by this division is commanded by the 3rd Army Corps, which is then commanded by the Conus West Theater. When you select him, you can see all the Army Corps that are attached to him, as well as the naval vessels. Now, if a land unit, or I believe an air unit, is actually out of range of their command units, they receive a penalty. So the more tight your chain of command is, the better off you are. So if I move these guys closer, like to here, they should go inside command. See, out of range command is attached to? Nice. Now, what you can't see right now, but if I can zoom in, is that each of these states is actually made up of smaller provinces. See? And there the names pop up. Nice. So, what else are we going to do? Well, we need to look at technology. Wow, what's going on here? Well, to put it nicely, you have a certain amount of leadership you have, and you have to assign that leadership. So let's say we're going to put about 16 of our leadership into espionage, into research. Okay? We're going to keep the rest of it pretty spread out. And then we're going to pick some things to research. Well, what are we going to do here? Well, I want to get to Marine Infantry, because I know that most of my fighting is going to be in the Pacific. Also, you can see this little number here. Well, that tells you what year it was historically researched in. If it's... Let me see if I can explain this correctly. If that year is prior to the year you're currently in the game, we're in 36, you get a bonus. If it's in front of you, in other words, it happens in the future, you get a penalty. So it's kind of always at your advantage to research things that are either at or behind where you are. Make sense? I hope so. So let's research some tank armor, because that's woefully behind. Woefully behind. And let's go over to our capital ship research. Well, that stuff's mostly up to par. Let's research that, get that up to par. But what I really want to look at is some stuff in industry. Radio detection equipment's good. And that isn't researched until 39. So let's see if we can find some other low-hanging fruit here. Ooh, a lot of theory. Huh. Well, we'll get there. Land research? Well, that's all doctrine. Well, we'll get to doctrine, don't worry. If I look at this, do I have anything in education? Yes, that increases my leadership, which means I can research more stuff. So that's good. And I can research 5 more things. So let's look at our aircraft. This allows multi-role fighters. That's pretty cool. And this will increase our the stuff for our fighters, but it's pretty far ahead in the future. So none of this is really stuff that I can grab right now. Bombers, maybe? No, that's all pretty far ahead. I could get some stuff in here, but that's not really... It's not really stuff I want to deal with. Armor? Well, we're already researching tanks. What if we do some artillery work? Doesn't seem like a bad idea, does it? Get 3 more. So if I go over here, let's say 1, 2, and 3. There we go. So now we've spent all of our research points. We'll lock that in and let everything else spread out. Nice. Now if you notice, nothing's been happening. Why has nothing been happening? Oh, right. Well, before we get there, well, let's look at our laws. So our laws are things we can change in our country that basically affect certain aspects. The problem is we can't really change anything until certain conditions are met. We can't go to limited restrictions until until we are at war, the Democratic Party has popularity of at least 50. We can't even get to a totalitarian system unless we have the Communist Party or the German-American Bund. But what else can we change? Well, we can't change much of this, except for this. We don't even have the money to do that. Huh. That's too bad. I kind of want that specialist training. I really do. We can't afford it yet. So let's fix that by starting the game. You may have thought looking at this map that this is a turn-based game. It's not. It's actually a real-time strategy game. Time is progressing. However, you can pause it and issue orders at any time you wish. So while that's happening, let's see what we can do. Our armament minister gives us a 5% bonus to resources, but I'm not certain that that's exactly what I need. There's nothing really else we can do here. Maybe get a bonus to supplies. What about our chief of staff? No. Armored spearhead, maybe? So it doesn't really look like there's much else we can do here. Yeah. Doesn't look like there's much else we can do. Land intel, political intel, no. I was hoping for something that would give me a bonus an IC bonus, but it doesn't really look like we have that, unfortunately. So in the meantime, we're just going to have to let time progress while we work. Thankfully, the US has a lot to do. So most of our Navy is all grouped up over here. You can see Battleship Fleet 1 with the Saratoga being supported by 3 US battleships. Well, this is kind of wasteful in my mind, and here's why. That carrier battle group has some very different stats from those battleships, and it's meant to provide a different role. So there's no good reason to have it grouped up. So let's split off the Saratoga into her own task group. Now that she's selected, I just right-click on that naval base, on the naval base, and I'm going to select rebase and have her go there. In the meantime, what else do we have here? Some heavy cruisers. Send those over. Because those carriers need to be protected from close-range engagement. Ah, the Lexington. Let's split her out as well. We'll select the Lexington, and we'll send her north with her fighter groups. You can see the arrow fills in as she moves. Now they're all in the same place, we click drag and merge them. And I forgot that my delete key is bound to start and stop my recording. So we named that group Carrier Task Force Number 1, CTF-1. Oh, trade offer. They want energy for money? I'll take that. So we have CTF-1. Let's pause this. As we can see, there are 6 ships in the unit. This is important because a commanding officer can only command a certain number of assets, be it infantry divisions, air groups, or in this case, warships. Commander Cook can command 6, and we have 6 ships in the fleet. 2 carriers and 4 heavy cruisers. Nice. Now, they don't have any screens, which is an issue. We'll have to fix that if we can find some light cruisers. Now, let me select Cook here. He can command 6. Well, let's rank him up. He's now rank 2. He can command 12 ships. So let's find us some screen ships, shall we? Oop, just went past him. 3 screens. Five screens, some light cruisers. So let's send them north as well. And then let's find some destroyers. Now, this isn't ideal, because these destroyers are significantly lower tech. And they're going to severely hamper the range of those carriers and those cruisers. But I think that's the best we can honestly do right now. Interesting. Oh, it got reassigned. So let's put Cook back in command. He can command 12 ships. We have 12 ships in the fleet. Maximum is 21 kilometers per hour. The carriers have a range of 3.1 thousand kilometers. The destroyer only has a range of 1.9 thousand. So that's going to be the maximum effective range. So we could get her out to there. But a ship can rebase at any distance. It's not too bad. We'll be upgrading those as time goes on. In fact, probably we'll be swapping out those that destroyer for a light cruiser, which will boost that up in firepower significantly. Now, if we go over here, we have one of the funniest fleets I've ever seen in my life. The Ranger Task Force. 11 destroyers and 1 capital ship. The USS Ranger. The Ranger is another carrier. Class 3, which means she's of the Yorktown class. We'll leave her in the Atlantic for right now. But let's just think about our submarines. We have them kind of scattered. Now, I know that my major threat's going to be against Japan here. So let's do some rebasing. Now, I already have ships in my allied port here. This is the Philippines. I have some assets there, and so do the Filipinos. But I have another naval base over here. Guam. So let's rebase our submarines out to Guam, and here's why. I know that I'm going to end up in a war with Japan. Like, that is definite. I have never been in a Hearts of Iron game where that didn't happen. So let's get our carriers and our submarines. Well, let's just get our submarines out there for right now. No use deploying our heavy assets that close to the Japanese. And I also know there's a submarine tasked up here. So let's split him off. And we'll send him over as well. And the day is proceeding nicely. So we're going to turn Guam into a submarine base. And now, let's locate... Those are some of our aircraft. And we have some more submarines out here with the Atlantic Submarine Fleet. But I don't think we're really going to use those much, to be perfectly honest with everyone. So let's get these guys out into the Pacific. Let's check our production here. Oh, we have some mismanaged production. So let's reset all of these. There we go. We're wasting some on consumer goods, but that's just going to make sure our descent stays nice and low. And those are garrisons, so we can't actually move those. They will stay in position and just kind of sit there. But that's fine. What do we have down here? We have the Philippine force, bunch of 3 infantry divisions. It's not terrible. We have the Second Fleet, and we have the Asiatic Fleet. Well, let us split off some of our submarines from the Asiatics. So we have some submarines and some destroyers in Guam, in the Philippines. That's not bad. That's not great, but that's not bad. So let's take 3 of our battleships. That's our carrier task force. Let's rebase them up here. And then a bunch of heavy cruisers, some destroyers, some transports. We have our battleships. So let's shift some of our battleships up north. I don't have any screens in there other than some destroyers. That's the problem. The U.S. Navy, when you start, you have some heavy steel in the water, but you don't get much else than that. Some destroyers. An ancient battleship, that's the Arkansas. Kind of an ancient ship. Ah, we got some light cruisers over here. So let's move those light cruisers over the Pacific where they'll do a little bit more good. Rebase out to San Diego. That's CONUS West Theater. Okay, so now let's make some sense of our aircraft. Alright, we got a fighter wing. Let's split these guys apart. 7th Air Wing. Not too shabby. A single set of interceptors. What are we going to do with them? Well, the continental United States is pretty much out of the range of anyone else. No one can really reach the continental United States if they don't have carriers. So instead, let's send them to Guam. Now this is the air mission selector, and we'll see this more when the U.S. actually goes to war. But for right now, we don't really need to worry about that too much. Let me pop this out and collapse everything down. Alright, we got a bunch of air wings here. We got some... God only knows what these are. Some carrier air groups that appear to be unassigned. Oh no, those are on the carriers. Okay. Those are assigned to the carriers. If I pop this out, Pacific Theater Command doesn't have any aircraft assigned to it. The CONUS West Theater has almost nothing assigned to it. You can see the U.S. Army is pretty much relatively shell-like right now. East Theater. We have some divisions spread about, but there really isn't that much to be seen here. But that's alright. We kind of know what we're doing. We're researching some technology. I'm pretty sure I just got a message. 7th Air Wing, okay. More efficient laws. Yes, I understand that. Oh, maybe we can change from advanced training to specialist training. Boom. Took a chunk out of our pocketbook, but it gives us a bonus to the starting experience. Takes more time to recruit, but honestly, we have about 5 years to do this. So, let's kick this up, and we can talk about some war plans. What am I planning on doing? Canada is cancelled. Ah, license agreement. They want to produce 1 unit of close air support, and they'll pay us money. Why not? They're going to be one of our allies in the future, and we can use the money. Italy. Trains have run on time. Running on time. Trains are running on time. Not too shabby. So, basically what we're doing now is we're waiting. And in the meantime, let's draw up our war plans here. Now, in the Pacific Theater, I'm planning on sticking relatively close to what the U.S. actually did. With a couple differences. Sure. First of all, I'm planning on holding Midway and Wake. And I'm planning on holding Guam and the Philippines. It's going to take some doing, but I think I can manage it. Ah, 4th Destroyer Division is ready to deploy. We'll deploy it out with the battleship fleet. Nice and easy. And let's go back to production, and let's pause this up. We need some more on supplies. Now, we're going to do something kind of gamey right now. Because we're going to close that. We're going to start producing, let's say, 3 runs of industrial capacity. They'll be done in a couple years. What that's going to do is that's going to allow us to add to our IC. But more importantly, that's actually going to allow us to build up what's called practical research modifier. There are 2 types of research modifiers, practical and theoretical. You get theoretical by researching things, you get practical by building it. The more practical and theoretical knowledge in something you have, the faster you can build it. Makes sense, right? What do I have over here? Tactical bombing wing. Well, we'll leave them there for right now. We got a light cruiser over there. Let's send him south as well. So my war plans are basically that I'm going to hold Guam and the Philippines, and I'm going to use those as a springboard for a deep strike directly into Japan. At the same time, I'm going to be strangling them with my submarine fleets. Atlantic Theater, I don't know what to do yet. We'll see how early I end up getting dragged into this war. Hopefully early enough, I might be able to save France. I've done it a couple times, but I haven't done it any time recently. Not since the expansions. But until we actually find out what's going on there, we won't know too much. So let's kick this back on, and we'll let the game accelerate away. Some more people want trade. We'll accept. If it's a friendly country, I'll pretty much accept automatically. Everything looks good over there. Battleship Fleet 1, that's fine. We should pretty much have everyone in theater. Now, I'm going to split these guys off, and I'm going to send these destroyers out like that. Cuba. I'm going to split off these destroyers, select them, and send them south. Alright, who's this? Nicaragua? I need the money. Costa Rica? I need the money. Now, I should have some of those light cruisers around here somewhere. Who are you? Canada. Sure, Canada. Alright, hold on. Let's... Otherwise, I'll be doing nothing but answering these things. Is there any way to automate this? There used to be. I don't know. We'll figure it out. Venezuela wants a production license. Norway wants a production license. Sure, we'll arm the world. The United States, the world's armaments dealer. Why not? Upgrades can go down. Supplies are fine. Reinforcements can go down. Accept. Sweden now wants close air support aircraft. Absolutely, we'll give you as many as you want. Whatever you want, Swedes. Oh my word. Okay, so now this event's fired. Republican Spain and... oh jeez. The Spanish Civil War is fired. We may or may not get an event asking them if they want support. We will probably support them. Because why not? Let's slow this down a little bit, something a little bit more manageable for me. Because we want to find those light cruisers that we had over here. There we go. Now we're going to split one of them off. Send these guys back because we screwed that one up. Okay. So we have 3 battleships and that's the one we wanted over here. There we go. So now we should be able to merge these two fleets. And now they are properly screened. Beautiful. What we're going to do is we're going to forward deploy these battleships over to Guam. Risky, I know. Well, let's not. See, my theory here is that the further away I keep them from the Japanese, the less likely the Japanese are to actually figure out what's going on. And I'm actually going to move this fleet, CTF-1, I'm going to move them back down to be recombined. Because now I can split this destroyer out and be a lot happier with a lot better range on my carrier. I like that idea. I like that idea a lot, in fact. So let's get these guys in here. Drop the speed down to something manageable. We're going to split our fleet out. Get those destroyers out of there. You guys are worthless. Not really. And let's find that single light cruiser we assigned. There it is. We'll send the USS Memphis back to link back up with CTF-1. We'll recombine the fleets, and our carrier battle group will be ready. And smoosh. 2 carriers, some heavy cruisers, and some light cruisers to screen. A nice combat group. Rebase. And I'll get more into the theory behind that in a little bit. So, we're kind of just reorganizing, waiting for time to pass, and building up our military. And that's pretty much all we do in the beginning part of the game. Now, don't worry. We will be mucking around a little bit and doing some other things that are interesting. But for now, I think this is actually a pretty good point to wrap the episode. So, thank you so much for watching. If you want to see the series continue, please let me know. We'll be doing more of this grand strategery. And hopefully we'll get into the action probably around 1941, as is historical. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. If you like this, please like, comment, subscribe, or drop me a private message. Thanks for watching, and have a good day, ladies and gentlemen.